My 17M, rich girlfriends. 19F, family invited me to go on a vacation with them, but I don't think I fit in. I'm not trying to be rude at all or anything. I just don't want to be a burden or anything. My girlfriend, 19F, and I, 17M, have been dating for a year now, and things are super great. She comes from a very wealthy family, while I come from a really poor family, not as poor anymore. She lives in a $2 million home, her family drives new cars, and she is just wealthy, but she is not a person who feels entitled because of her family's wealth. I'm also Latino and her family is American white. Sorry if that's rude, I don't mean it in a rude manner. I do get along with her dad and her mom very well, and they helped me with getting in a good university, since my family couldn't really help, since I'm the first to finish high school. I'm respectful towards them and all, and since I work in construction and landscaping, I do some work around their house. Her mom and dad invited me over for dinner, and they told me they wanted me to come along with them and my girlfriend on a resort vacation lasting a week. It sounds nice, and they said they had paid for me to go with them, but I feel real bad about it. Like, I wouldn't be able to afford to go, but I saved a few $100s from the past weeks of work. I do have some money to buy stuff over there, but I just feel bad and kind of embarrassed that they are the ones paying for me to go. What should I do? Not go? Go with them? Apologize? Or what? TLDR, my girlfriend's rich family is paying for me to go on a vacation with them, but I feel like a burden about it. Update, apparently I F31, married a narcissist. M35. Original post, my F31, husband. M34, of 5 years takes me for granted. Thank you to everyone for your comments on my original post, 3 months ago. I actually was quite surprised by the resounding gong of how terrible he is, and needed a lot of time to digest the responses. My first reaction was that I exaggerated, or only put one side into the story, and that he isn't really that bad. The switch flipped for me after a few series of events in the last 2 months. First, I wanted to sign up our oldest child up for a weeknight evening activity, and my husband was not fond of the idea, but when I kept pushing he said if I did sign up it was all on me, and that I was not allowed to get frazzled or stressed out on the day of the activity. I realized he doesn't want to sign up because he doesn't want to change his quality of life. Shortly after that, he was traveling for work, and I was lying in bed alone, and I realized I hadn't gotten my period in a while. Open my app to check when it's due. I'm on day 52 of my cycle, and we had sex immediately before my fertility window. I cannot be pregnant. I panicked, and I didn't even want to tell him. I feared telling him. I still haven't told him 2 months later. I thankfully just skipped a cycle. I started fantasizing what it would look like to split time with our kids, casually looking for work, to see what is out there right when we break up, and totally talking about it with my girlfriends. Then one lunch, in front of the kids, out of nowhere we had a colossal fight, for us, surprisingly, and quite out of character. I was totally calm, and when he would go at me with is this what the next 35 years of our lives will be like, I would just say I hope not. And when he said something about divorce, I just said that doesn't scare me. I was solidly expecting to be fighting all Christmas, because I really thought the best thing would be to separate, and he now knew that was something I was considering. A couple hours later he was super sweet, telling me he'll never stop fighting for us, and that I'm the best at everything I do, which is true, and that he just wanted us to be better, that he would be better. In the couple days that followed, he said a couple of things to our kids that make me cringe. I'm sure some people parent with shame intentionally, but I'm not okay with it. And I immediately called him on it and told him that was one of the things I did not like. He seems to have taken note and has not done it since. He is taking an interest in an entrepreneurial project of mine, which is a complete 180 from before. It is just an interest. When I want to talk about a new idea or spin on something related to my project, he is mostly dismissive, but will tolerate me talking about it. Our 6th anniversary came and went over the holiday break. He remembered a couple days before, but did not plan anything. The day of was forgettable. He did, however, buy me grocery store flowers and write a nice note in a card. I still feel skeptical. I'm hesitant and I don't know if this is genuine. We are attending a work conference in a month for his company and I'm concerned that his change in attitude is to keep me in line so we present well and I don't embarrass him. I feel like he is trying to check the boxes that he thinks will make me happy without actually put in real effort. I also feel like he is trying and I should give him a chance. I don't know what to do. TLDR, an update to an old post. Comments made me think that I had exaggerated until a series of things triggered me to plan to leave, as 90% of comments told me to. When I told him I wasn't scared of divorce and that it had crossed my mind, he freaked out and in 2 hours came back to me that he was going to fight for us and that we can be better. He has been better, but I can't seem to shake my hesitation. I, 19F, passed out at a party and woke up to my ex, 19M, dated for 2 years, having sex with me. I was home for the weekend when I received a text from Eric, my ex-boyfriend from high school. He and I attempted long distance when I left for college last year, but I ultimately ended the relationship because I didn't see it going anywhere. But I did still care about him, and breaking up with him wasn't easy. He invited me over to a small party at a mutual friend's house, so I went. I didn't know what to expect. Maybe I would see him and change my mind about the whole thing. Maybe I wouldn't, but either way, I still decided to go because I missed him. It was nice to see Eric again. A little while into the party I was fairly certain that I wanted to reconcile a friendship with him. As far as a relationship or anything of the sort, it still didn't feel right. But catching up was nice. There was a lot of alcohol and a lot of weed at this party. I'd never drank and smoked at the same time before, but I was with people who I trusted, so I thought I'd be fine. I was wrong. I smoked and drank so much that I lost track of how many drinks I'd had, to the point that I vomited and then passed out in the host's old friend from high school bed. Or maybe it was just a really deep sleep. Either way, I was completely out. I woke up with my dress pulled up and my ex having sex with me. It hurt. I was completely dry. It took me a moment to register what was happening, but once I realized, I tried to push him off. He was heavy and stronger than I was. I was still having trouble even keeping my eyes open. I told him to stop, slut, more like, and he acted like he didn't hear me and just kept going. He finished, pulled out and came on my dress, and left the bedroom without saying a single word to me. I was laying in the bed, my dress still hiked up, trying not to pass out again, but I did. I woke up to him bringing another girl into the room and having sex with her while I was half conscious in the bed next to them. I felt so disgusting. When I completely woke up around 6 AM, everyone was still sleeping, and I just left. I'm home now, with a hangover from hell. Emotionally I'm a mess. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should tell someone. I feel like I should, but I don't know who. Not to mention that I was drinking while underage and on drugs when it happened. And he was drinking too. A part of me just wants to forget about the whole thing, but this really doesn't feel right. TLDR, ex invited me to a party, got very drunk and very high, to the point of passing out. Woke up to him having sex with me and wouldn't stop. Passed out again. Woke up to him bringing another girl into the room and having sex with her as I lay next to them in the bed. Woke up again. Drove home, at a loss for what to do now, or if I should do anything at all. Am I, 24F, being unfair for not agreeing to bus 2 hours to my boyfriend, 29M, when he could drive 25 minutes to me? Hello Reddit. I, 24F, have been dating my boyfriend, 29M, for 3 months, so still pretty new. Whenever he has come over for the weekend, he would come to me. He works remotely as a software engineer and owns a car. I'm currently a graduate student and don't have a car. I live in the proximity of the city center, whereas he lives out of the city in the suburbs. Today he was like, I think you should bus to me this weekend. I told him it would take me 4 buses and 2 hours to get to him one way, and that I didn't think I would be up for that, especially when it only takes 25 minutes for him to drive to me. He said I would have 2 hours to listen to music. I understand there needs to be equal effort in relationships, but when he comes here I cook all of our meals, because he doesn't cook, and host him. Additionally, I volunteer, in person, one afternoon on the weekends, which is walking from my house. I honestly felt so pissed that he thought it was reasonable for me to bus a total of 4 hours round trip when it takes him less than an hour round trip. Am I valid to feel this way? Or does him asking this seem fair? TLDR, boyfriend asked me to bus 4 hours round trip, so he didn't have to drive an hour round trip. I am 26, feel like a prisoner in my own home. I'm 26 meters and currently live at home with my parents. I really love them and appreciate that they're letting me live here essentially for free whilst I complete my PhD. The trouble is I find that as I'm getting further into young adulthood I'm developing my own routine and sense of direction, which makes living with my parents uncomfortable at best. I prefer to have my own space and time, especially because my PhD is so demanding. Sometimes I just want silent time. This often causes fights because I never make time for them, even though every weekend we go somewhere or do something together. It's just through the week I need my own space to work and relax after. Problems started recently because I'm starting to look at maybe moving out, and I feel less and less welcome in my own home. I feel like whatever mood my parents are in also influences how I feel, like I'm walking on eggshells in case they yell at me. I do all my Own chores by the way. TLDR, I just feel like it's time to move out for my mental health, but my city is so expensive. How can I make living at home more bearable? Married 13 years. M40F37, no sex for months. My wife has no interest in sex. It's been months since we've been intimate, and it was months before then that we were intimate as well. She's not interested in splitting up or anything like that. She's just comfortable in a relationship with no sex. She can't understand how having no sex affects my everyday life. I'm constantly stressed. I'm short with people. She's not interested in marriage counseling because she doesn't see a problem. How do I deal with no sex? TLDR, we have sex months apart at best. She doesn't see an issue. Mother-in-law has huge problem with being asked if she's healthy when visiting newborn. So my mother-in-law just came back from a trip abroad. Her flight was literally 2 days ago. She has a funeral in our area, so told me she will be visiting us today. 1 day notice. I told my husband and said mother-in-law didn't ask me. She told me she will be coming. We have had discussions about boundaries before, and I asked my husband previously to let mother-in-law know she has to ask before visiting and not just turn up, which she has done before. When we have visitors, we always ask if they are healthy. On top of having 3 small children, 4 and under, we have a newborn who also has low white blood cells, which most people know means they are not great at fighting infections. Mother-in-law has a particularly bad track record of visiting us sick with flus, tummy troubles, coughs, colds, shingles and the sorts. When my husband asked mother-in-law, "Are you healthy?" she had a go at him, saying, "Why does he always ask? His brother who has a child doesn't ask her, and isn't a little boy, the 1-year-old, already sick with a tummy bug anyway." She went on, and husband went on to explain himself. The short notice and not asking wasn't even discussed, but that question alone was problem enough. Today my husband and I argued about something unrelated, mainly because I'm suffering from postpartum anxiety and get very stressed about visitors, cleaning and hosting it, so I was feeling heightened, and he said to me that it's my fault his mom feels unwelcome because I'm putting things into his head that he's then putting on her. I'm actually really bothered by this because he's had many problems setting boundaries with his parents, and I thought it was getting better, but because his mom had a go at him, suddenly he shouldn't be asking if she's healthy because it may upset her. To me and everyone else we've asked, it's very understandable why someone with a newborn would ask, but mother-in-law is very sensitive to being given boundaries and usually has a way of talking my husband into and around things. But we are a family and I'm his wife. I think I need advice on how to address this comment from my husband and validation that I'm normal for wanting these basic respects boundaries. TLDR. Mother-in-law with history of not respecting boundaries made a huge deal that husband asked if she was in good health to visit. Husband now blames me for making him make his mom feel unwelcome. Need advice and validation.